Hey everybody, welcome to the Realist Lounge. This is Ernie, your realist for hire. So, I know I'm a little late coming up with this, but I had a pretty rough night Friday, as y'all probably saw from the Facebook post. So, I'm finally going to get to you guys about what I thought about The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey, which I did see Friday night after the show, Straight Line Stitch, down at the Daisy. So, let's see, where do we start? Okay, runtime. First off, this movie is a resounding 2 hours and 45 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Now, some of you who probably already have the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you guys will probably not even so much as watch this movie and even blink at the runtime on it, which is good. I mean, it's a really fun movie, and you won't. I will say this. Let's go ahead and start this off right off the bat. You will possibly feel a little bit of that runtime in the very beginning, because I won't lie to you, the first 30 to 40 minutes largely spent in the Shire. Which, I mean, honestly, I don't have a problem with that, because it's being incredibly true to the books. Peter Jackson really came correct on this movie. I mean, I didn't even have a doubt, because honestly, if you saw the Lord of the Rings trilogy, then you know this guy knows his stuff. No worry there whatsoever. But I will go ahead and say, yeah, it's very rough at first. Now, to kick the movie off, and this is not really a spoiler, but you kind of get a taste of that Lord of the Rings feel, in the sense that we do get an opening narrative, only this time now with Galadriel. We get to hear this from Bilbo's perspective about basically what is bringing us to the Hobbit in the first place. So we're getting a little backstory here, and unlike Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit is a very dwarf-centric movie. So, we get to see alternate takes of what dwarf life is really like and what these characters are really like. Whereas really in the Lord of the Rings movie, we spent a little bit more time with the elves, and we had Gimli, which was good character done by Rhys Davies, but yeah, we won't go there. Anyway. So we have a movie with Bilbo Baggins, who, let's go ahead and say this right now, Martin Freeman, who a lot of you guys may know from Sherlock. He plays Watson on Sherlock. This man kind of stole a place in my heart that Ian Holm once had as Bilbo. Yes, Ian Holm, Lord of the Rings, awesome Bilbo. Martin Freeman, that's my Bilbo. That's my Bilbo Baggins. From the Shire. He owns it. I mean, he comes right in and says, all right, look, all these other critics out here are bashing me because, I'm not as charming as the other 4, 5, 10, whatever hobbits from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Screw that. Bilbo owns each one of them. Now, yeah, Lord of the Rings trilogy hobbits, Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, awesome characters. Bilbo, he's my Samwise in this movie. But yes, Martin Freeman comes in, totally owns it, and it's basically the setup, Gandalf coming to his home and saying, hey, look, we need you to do some stuff, and Bilbo's like, look, I'm not the adventure guy, so you guys are barking up the wrong tree, and not really going to go into what actually brings us about, but ultimately, it's the unexpected journey, so you know he's going on a journey. I also want to throw in here, while we're talking about actors, Richard Armitage, who is playing Thorin Oakenshield, who is the head of the Dwarven Company. Yeah, let's just go ahead and say this man's a badass. This man comes in, takes a character who, in the books, very surly, very just boring and bland, and though, I mean, he is a badass character in the books, he can become that guy that you're just like, you're awesome, but, don't really care about you. Richard Armitage comes in, takes over the helm, and really, really delivers as this character. So, I mean, he really makes you feel like, man, this guy wants to get his home back. I mean, and now while we're talking about that, these guys go on this journey, and ultimately, this is when the craziness ensues, just like in anything else in Lord of the Rings. Once you hit that 40-minute mark, That's it. I mean, the story is kicking from there. We get awesome characterizations, we get awesome story, we get awesome build-up, all those great things that you remember from Lord of the Rings. We get cameos out the wazoo. We get to see a lot of fan favorite characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, we'll go and say right now, a lot of people are expecting to see characters like Legolas. Not in this one. You probably won't see him until the second or third one, maybe. Another thing, speaking of cameos, and this is one I felt was kind of needless. Just saying. I like Frodo and everything, but wasn't necessary. They could have left Frodo out. We really don't need Frodo in The Hobbit. Just saying. So, beside all that, I felt like, they kicked the story off really good. I will say, there are pacing issues, but I mean, once you get past all that, it's awesome. One part that I see a lot of people kind of mixed bag reviews on, everyone I've talked to that's seen the movie so far, everything I've read online, a lot of people seem really mixed on Radagast the Brown. Let's just say, okay, Radagast the Brown, good character. Let's go ahead and say right now, a lot of people, you may recognize him, you may not. He's Sylvester McCoy, who was one of the late 80s doctors from Doctor Who. So, if you are a fan of Doctor Who and you remember the late 80s series, then, well, most likely you know who this guy is. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan, though I do like Doctor Who, but I really didn't know who he was at first until I looked him up on IMDb. Radagast the Brown, little goofy. Nowhere near as surly and powerful in a present sense as, say, Saruman the White, and not quite as down to earth and lovable as Gandalf the Grey. However, Radagast the Brown kind of holds a special place in my heart, because you realize this guy, I mean, he's only in the movie for 10 minutes. This man's kind of a badass. I mean, for all goofiness aside and bird shit on the side of his head. Now, we're going past this point. I also want to kind of throw a little talk towards the fact that we have some characters in here who pop up, like Azog. Azog, played by Manu Bennett, who you guys may remember as Crixus from the Spartacus TV series. That man comes in here, and I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like to talk about how, such and such orc and troll from Lord of the Rings, wherever, was really badass. Yeah, Azog, he's the man. I really can't wait to see the final confrontation and how that all plays out. It's gonna be pretty amazing. Let's also talk about the Riddles in the Dark. I really want to talk about this because fan favorite Gollum is back, and of course, if you read The Hobbit, he's not really in the books for a lot of time. And just like that, he's not really in the movie for a lot. I mean, honestly, unless they make some changes to the pacing and how the story's set up, I really don't expect to see him again in the next two films, and that's sad, because Riddles in the Dark, I'm sorry, hands down, for my money, probably the best. And that's saying, I'm serious, the best that they have ever had in any of the Lord of the Rings saga. I don't care, The Hobbit, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, I don't give a damn. That man, Andy Serkis, deserves an Oscar for his performance. I don't care what the Oscar people say. Give that man something. Whose ass do I have to kick to get Andy Serkis an Oscar? That's all I'm going to say on that. But the Riddles in the Dark was absolutely amazing. So, definitely a moneymaker in this movie. Now, another last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this review and tell you guys what I think, if you guys can't tell already. Another one I want to touch upon is the way the movie comes to a close. The movie comes to a close at a very weird part, because I want to say, if my memory serves correctly, it ends about roughly where the book is halfway at. So, I'm not sure where they're going with the rest of the trilogy, the second, third movie, but I don't know how you guys are going to stretch this out, but I'm really curious to see. Let's go ahead and throw the rating out there. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. I would personally give The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey, all day on Blu-ray. And for those that don't know the rating system that I have implemented, that's basically my way of saying this movie's pretty damn awesome. Not perfect, but pretty freaking awesome. So that's my review, guys, and I figured, hey, what better way to start this thing off than with a review of The Hobbit? That sounded like a pretty epic way to do this. I'm looking at getting some more reviews up here, and not just with movies, maybe a few other things. We'll see. Maybe talk about some TV shows and some things that are going on there. Now, granted, we'll get into all that later. But just so you guys know, Ernie the Realist here, bringing you everything that you need, bringing you the real shit, and thank you guys for looking. Catch you guys later. Signing out.